On October 15, 1945, just months after the end of World War II, the once powerful leader of Vichy France, Pierre Laval, faces a firing squad. His crime? Betraying his own country. So, who was Pierre Laval, and what exactly did he do to get convicted of treason? To understand his epic fall, we need to go back to the beginning. Laval's political journey began far from treason. Born in 1883 in the small village of Châteaudun in central France, he rose from humble beginnings to become a lawyer in Paris, where he defended trade unionists and socialists. Elected to France's Chamber of Deputies in 1914, Laval urged a negotiated end to World War I. But after losing his seat in 1919, his politics shifted sharply to the right. Over the next 2 decades, he served in nearly every major cabinet position, and twice as France's prime minister. He was even named Time magazine's Man of the Year for 1931. As France faced growing threats from Nazi Germany, Laval became deeply suspicious of communism and sought closer ties with fascist Italy. He opposed France's declaration of war on Germany in 1939, believing peace and compromise were the nation's best options. When Germany invaded in 1940, France collapsed in just 6 weeks. Laval used his political influence to force an armistice with Hitler. After the French surrender, the country was divided into 2 zones, the German-occupied North and the unoccupied South. The southern zone became known as Vichy France, an authoritarian regime led by French World War I hero Marshal Philippe Pétain, and based in the spa town of Vichy. While it claimed to preserve French independence, the Vichy government collaborated closely with Nazi Germany, enforcing censorship, persecuting Jews, and supporting the German war effort. Laval rose quickly within this puppet regime, ascending to the role of Minister of State. But it was soon discovered that Laval was holding secret talks with Germany, prompting Pétain to dismiss him in December 1940. By 1942, Laval had regained Hitler's trust and then control of the Vichy government. Pétain was reduced to a figurehead. Under Laval's leadership, France became a willing collaborator in Nazi oppression, even helping deport thousands of Jews to Hitler's death camps. As the Allies liberated France in 1944, Laval fled east under German protection. When Nazi Germany fell, he escaped to Spain but was soon expelled and eventually arrested by American forces in Austria in July 1945. Back in France, Laval faced trial in the High Court of Justice. The proceedings were chaotic, a heckling jury, constant interruptions, and little patience for his defense. Laval naively believed that he would be able to convince his fellow countrymen that he had been acting in their best interests all along, but it was not to be. Convicted of treason, Laval attempted to take his own life by drinking poison, but doctors revived him and he was executed on October 15, 1945, at age 62. Once an advocate for peace, Pierre Laval's shift from patriot to puppet became one of France's darkest wartime transformations. Pétain was also tried and convicted of treason and sentenced to death. However, due to his advanced age and his esteemed service in World War I, the court asked that the sentence not be carried out. Pétain spent his final years in prison in a citadel on an island off the French coast, dying at age 95 in 1951. Here are other events that happened today in history. In 1582, the Gregorian calendar replaces the Julian calendar in several European countries. In 1839, 20-year-old Queen Victoria of England proposes to her first cousin, 20-year-old Prince Albert. In 1917, Dutch exotic dancer Mata Hari is executed by the French after being convicted for spying. In 1989, the Great One Wayne Gretzky of the LA Kings breaks Gordie Howe's NHL points record. In 1990, Mikhail Gorbachev is awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his role in ending the Cold War. In 2003, China becomes the third ever nation to launch a manned spaceflight with Shenzhou 5. In 2007, Drew Carey takes over as host of The Price is Right, replacing Bob Barker after 35 years. And now it's time for our Today in History quiz. What was the first name of the toddler who fell down a backyard well in Midland, Texas in 1987? Rachel? Tiffany? Jessica? Or Kimberly? Did you find this story of wartime betrayal in France fascinating? Then you'll want to see how Britain's leader handled Hitler's rise. Tap the screen to keep the story going on Today in History.